Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Well, it's finally here. One of the most anticipated world championships in chess, in my opinion, since I was a young boy in 1972 during the Fischer-Spassky match. World champion Vishy Anand from India, defending his title against the #1 rated player in the world from Norway, Championship-Carlsen. They're playing in Chennai, India, Vishy's hometown. This is going to be a great match. Don't miss any of these games. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again with another great chess video for you. Game 3 of the much anticipated World Chess Championship between reigning world champion Vishy Anand from India, 5 times world champion, and Championship-Carlsen from Norway, the #1 rated player in the world. Some call the Mozart of chess. Round 3. The first 2 rounds were short draws. Nothing really spectacular. Players feeling each other out. This is a pretty good game. And I'm not going to give it away by saying what went on. We're going to get right to it. Knight F3 by Magnus again. He went knight to F3 when he had white in game 1. Got to give the kid credit. He believes what he believes. G3, ready opening of course, G6. And Magnus does something a little different on move 3. C4. Pretty wild stuff. Fischer can do one of 2 things. He can either go D4 or he can take. Fischer decides to take. Magnus queen checks, knight c3. Now what do you do here? You take your pawn right back. It's not very likely that white can hold that c4 pawn, or excuse me, black. Bishop g2, bishop g7, knight c3. There's no big hurry in taking that pawn yet. e5. Queen finally takes. Now, oddly enough, queen takes c4 is the 3rd choice for the computer. I have a Fritz 13 off screen. And I analyzed this game earlier today, and I think, as you see when we come down to, there's a few positions. I looked on some chess sites, and there's a couple of positions where they really got on Vishy Anand about not making certain moves. When we get to it, we'll see. I think this is where Vishy's intuition and vast amount of experience in match play over Magnus came into play, and you'll see here coming. Queen takes, knight on GD7, castles, D3. Pretty common stuff. They're just trying to get developed. Game's even, at least on the computer it is. I think it's fairly easy to play white right here, to be honest with you. Queen's in a little weird spot, but that's not the end of the world. H6. I think that's to stop the knight from coming here. When he goes bishop here to chase away the queen, knight will come up here and make the bishop move again. That stops that. Bishop d2, knight d4. All the moves, I will have to say, even if I say this the 3rd move on the computer, all these moves are so close in score, you can't criticize the players for picking them. They're all about the same. Knight d4, knight takes, pawn takes. Interesting position. This is the World Championship, Game 3. Magnus needs to score. He needs to prove that he's not just a nervous kid that's a brilliant player, that he can play match play as well. And he's trying all kinds of odd stuff. I would have to guess they're probably either close or going to be close to be out of book here shortly, and the players will have to play on their own. Any chess player knows book means the theory, the knowledge, prepared moves up to this point. Knight to e4, c6, bishop b4. If Magnus had played queen to c1, then h7 to guard, as you can see, kind of gaining a tempo on black. After bishop b4, bishop e6, chase the queen. Where to go? Three spots are either here, here, or here. Magnus decided queen to c1, which he was roundly criticized for later. Bishop d5. I thought queen to c1 was a proper move. a4. If he had gone back to c5 again, threatening the knight, rook d8 takes care of that. And almost in a way it loses the tempo for white since he just moved the queen. After a4, b6, bishop takes, queen takes. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go a little bit quicker through the analysis of the games than I normally do, being that I put up a Magnus-Carlsen documentary on about a week ago, and I got a copyright strike. All they had to do is ask me to take it down. You know, you make you out like a criminal. Oh well. It's chess videos. Nobody's making any money off of this stuff. Anyway, after queen takes c7, a5, I think that's a really good move at Magnus's part. It basically freezes the b pawn. He can't push. Then the c pawn is so backward, it'll be a target. Rook a to b8, rook d1. Tiny advantage for black at this point. So small, I don't even bother by why I even mention the advantage at all. Rook f to c8. Now it looks like Vishy wants to get behind his passed pawns here. Makes perfect sense. You got 4 pawns here. A takes, A takes. Now what to do? I think this is a critical point in the game. Now I remember some of the analysis when I watched the DVR. I couldn't get up at 4:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time here in the United States to watch it, so I watched it on a recording. And they had suggested rook to a6, which I like a lot. And as I'm looking at the computer here as we're talking, the best move Magnus found, queen to f4. If black's not careful, his king's a little exposed. What to do, what to do? You're Vishy Anand. You have some initiative. Rook to d8. This is a move I was really surprised at. Magnus received some criticism from it. It's not even on the list of moves for the computer, the top 3. He went h4. And I don't know why. I'm still trying to figure out why. I'm assuming he wants to stop pawn here. Black's king's going to be pretty exposed if black's not careful. King to h7. Knight to d2. What do you do with that knight now? The scope of that knight is very limited. And that h6 move helped with that. But where do you put it? Do you leave it? Because what will happen is, if you go knight here, the escape squares for your queen become very limited. You're bishop here, queen, bishop comes over, that queen's going to get harassed like crazy, and you're going to see what happens. Knight to d2. That takes away a lot of escape squares for that queen. Bishop b5 hitting the queen, g4, h5 hitting the queen again, forcing the queen back. And then bishop e6, forcing the queen to h1. I gotta admit, I felt bad for Magnus at this point, and you could see the look on his face. He was not amused. Came out with a fairly decent, I wouldn't call it a novelty, but a rare, very rare move in the opening, and it seems to have totally backfired on him. That queen's stuck on h1, and it's not doing a hell of a lot. Granted, he owns this diagonal, and anything on it, that's for certain. c5, knight to e4, king to g7, knight to g5, here it comes. Right now, I would say white's almost a queen down, at least in part. Because in the battlefield, which is all of this, the queen has no influence, the white queen. It's much easier playing black here. B5, E3, D takes, Rook takes, Bishop D4. Now, if he had played Bishop takes B2, Rook A to E1, Rook to B6, Bishop to H3. Granted, black's still ahead, but that's complications that Vishy really didn't need.